As you clicked on this video, you most likely are struggling with an issue: how do I transfer Swiss francs from my Swiss bank account to euros to my bank account in the Eurozone? Good news for you, because after this video you will know exactly how to do that the best way that suits your situation. For this purpose I made an experiment transferring 3 times 1000 francs from my Swiss bank account to my Finnish bank account to see how easy it is, how fast the different methods are, and what is the cheapest way to transfer the money. I used 3 different methods for transferring the money. The first one, I transferred directly the money from my Swiss bank account to my Finnish bank account. Second method, I transferred money from my Swiss bank account to my Revolut account, and from there I transferred the money then to my Finnish bank account. And the last one, and probably the one that you haven't heard before, is that I transferred my money from my Swiss bank account to my Interactive Brokerage account, which is my broker where I'm buying my ETFs and stocks, and then made an exchange there on the Forex exchange and transferred money to my Finnish bank account. If you already look at a little bit on different methods how to transfer money, you might notice that I left out Wise, or what used to be called TransferWise, out of this comparison. But we'll get to that soon, why that was the case. To keep this comparison as comparable as possible, I did all the transfers at the same time from my Swiss bank account. If I would have waited a day or two to do these transfers from one account to another, I might have risked that the exchange rates would have changed in the overall market, making these transactions not comparable to see what is the most cheapest way to transfer the funds. Another thing that is worthwhile to keep in mind, I did these transfers around Wednesday midday, so that if you are considering transferring money on weekend or Friday afternoon, the times what you will experience between the different providers might vary slightly. To better compare these methods, I rated them in 3 different categories based on how easy it was to do the transfer, how quick the transfer was from my Swiss bank account to my Finnish bank account, and how much money I eventually got in my Finnish bank account in euros. The first method was transferring directly from my Swiss bank account money to my Finnish bank account. As Neon is my main bank account in Switzerland, I made the transfer from here. Doing the international transfer in the Neon app is rather simple. Just choose the payments at the bottom of the app, click Add New Payment, then select International Payment, insert the amount of money you want to transfer, and you will see directly what kind of fees they're going to go, how is the exchange rate going to be, and also estimation when the transfer is going to arrive to your bank account. And then you fill out the recipient's name, IBAN, and the type if they're a business or person. So in this case, it was my own bank account details. The interesting part is that Neon Bank is using TransferWise as their payment provider for international payments. This is also the reason why I did not include Wise in this comparison, because technically transferring from my own bank account uses Wise for this transfer. And this is where it got a little bit tricky. The Neon app prompted me to log into my Wise account, and it was a little bit confusing jumping from app to app. And at the same time it started to make me wonder, why am I even doing it from the Neon app if I need to anyway log into my Wise account? However, I assume that after this was my first international transfer from my account, you probably don't need to do this logging into the Wise account after if you do multiple payments in the later. So besides from the additional logging to the Wise account, this one was rather smooth and simple process to send the money from my Swiss bank account to the Finnish one. Therefore, I would rate the ease of use 4 out of 5. As I also mentioned earlier, Neon provided an estimation when the transfer should be in my bank account in Finland. In my case, the date was suggested at the time of doing the transfer on Wednesday that the money should be there latest by Friday. However, in my case, in reality, it was that I already received the funds few minutes after I made the transfer. So in this case, 5 out of 5 for the speed. Then it was time for the second method, transferring the money from my Swiss account to Revolut account and from there to my Finnish account. The process for transferring the money from the Swiss account to Revolut account is rather simple. You needed the payment details, so the IBAN number and the reference number from your Revolut app, and place it as a domestic payment in your Neon app. As Revolut doesn't have its own dedicated IBANs, all the money you're sending from Neon to Revolut are going to one collection account and then allocated to your Revolut account, so it takes a little longer. This means that it takes some time for money to transfer from your Neon account to the Revolut account. In my case, the money was available on my Revolut account the following morning. I was able to exchange the Swiss francs to euros in the account, which is Really simple, just few clicks. And from there, transferring the money to my Finnish account in euros. And when doing the transfer from euro account to euro account, it's again few minutes and the money was in my account. So in this case, transferring the money from Neon via Revolut to my Finnish account, ease of use, I would say still 4 out of 5 because it did not require much more than the direct transfer. For the speed, I would say also 4 out of 5 because now it took 1 day longer. If you would have needed the money right away in your euro account, it would have been a bit too slow for that case. But still, it really did not take longer than 24 hours. Then it was time for the last method. Transferring the money to my brokerage account, doing the transfer there on the Forex exchange, and then transferring the money back to my Finnish account. This is probably a method that most of you haven't even thought about. This is not as convenient as the other options. Here, transferring the money from the Swiss account to the brokerage account works rather similarly as transferring the money to Revolut. So you first need to log into your Interactive Broker, get the wire transfer details from there, and do the domestic payment in your bank account. Finding these wire instructions is simple if you've done it before, but if you're doing this first time, this definitely is not that easy. Another thing that could be a bit scary for someone who haven't tried this method before is that you're actually trading the currency in the currency exchange. The absolutely best part of this method is that you are the one who is telling what exact exchange rate you want to trade your currency. So there is no middleman in between and the costs will be definitely lowest. Interactive Brokers is only taking about 2 euros per transaction on the exchange fees, but this is regardless of the size of your transaction. So if you are trading 100 euros or 100,000 euros, your exchange fee is 2 euros. And when transferring the money away from the Interactive Brokers, you need to transfer it to your own account that you have preset into the system. So for the ease of use, I would say for Interactive Brokers, 2 out of 5, because if you haven't done this before, it might take some time to figure out what you actually need to do. For the speed, it was not too much slower as the other ones. When I transferred the money on Wednesday midday, I received the money on my Finnish account by Friday. So for the speed, I would give for Interactive Brokers 3 out of 5. So then comes the interesting part, how much euros did I receive in my Finnish bank account? Using the direct transfer from my Swiss account to my Finnish account, translated my 1,000 francs into 960 euros and 34 cents. Then the second method, using Revolut as my way to transfer the 1,000 francs to my Finnish account, translated into 968 euros and 5 cents. And then the last method, using the brokerage account to transfer the Swiss francs to euros. For my 1,000 francs, I received 969 euros and 14 cents. So we can see that transferring the 1,000 euros was cheapest using Interactive Brokers, second one for Revolut, and the worst one was for direct transfer from Neon to the Finnish account. So therefore I would rate that Interactive Brokers was 5 out of 5 for the cost, Revolut was 4 out of 5, and direct transfer was 3 out of 5. So when looking at the final amount of euros what I received in different accounts, we can say that all in all the options were rather reasonable given the exchange rate at the time. I can see clear use cases for all three methods, but there are some little fine print that we need to look more to know it better. Neon was now the most expensive one to transfer 1,000 euros. But Neon's pricing is based on the percentages on the transfer. So therefore, if you would be transferring instead, let's say 100 euros, it would not be so much different from the other options. I was a little surprised that Revolut did so well compared to the Interactive Brokers, because originally I was expecting that the Interactive Brokers would be significantly better than the other options when it comes to the cost efficiency. On the other hand, on Revolut, there is a limit that you can exchange only 1,250 francs per month for free if you're on the free plan, which makes larger transfers not so convenient. And for the Interactive Brokers, on the other hand, the experience is a bit slower and not so user-friendly compared to the other options. But as the fees were fixed and really low, transferring larger amounts works well. And this is exactly what I've been doing myself. If I needed to transfer a few hundred euros, Revolut was the way to go. If I would have been in a situation where I would needed the money to be immediately in my Finnish account, then I would use Neon. And when I'd be needing to transfer larger amounts of money, I would obviously go for Interactive Brokers, even though it takes a little bit longer. But in these kind of amounts, the fees for, let's say, Neon would be significantly higher as they are percentage-based and not fixed like in Interactive Brokers. So therefore, my recommendation is the following. If you need to have the money right away in your account, use the direct transfer. It will cost you a bit money, but that's how it is. If you need to transfer only a smaller amount of money per month, maybe using Revolut will be the best one. And if you need to transfer larger amounts of money, then using the interactive brokers is definitely the cheapest option for you. Hopefully the video was helpful for you to learn how to transfer Swiss francs to euros. And if you have some future video requests, let me know in the comments. In the meanwhile, go check out my other video on the best bank account in Switzerland.